The world #1 ranking in golf is the most recognized measure of excellence in the sport. Whoever holds it is, by definition, the best player on the planet. Scottie Scheffler has held it longer than almost anyone in the modern era. By every visible measure, the ranking system works. It crowns the deserving. But here is what most fans do not know. The system that decides who is #1 and who typically qualifies for the 4 major championships is not run by the PGA Tour. It is not run by any tour. So who actually runs it? And what does that mean for the future of the sport? Most golf fans interact with the official world golf ranking the same way. They check who is #1, they watch how Rory McIlroy or Jon Rahm moves after a major. They know players inside the top 50 of the OWGR typically qualify for Augusta. The assumption underneath all of that is intuitive. The tour organizes the game. The ranking reflects the tour. They are, in effect, the same institution. That assumption is wrong. The OWGR was established in 1986, as confirmed by the OWGR's own official history at OWGR.com. It was created to provide a single, unified measure of player performance across global tours, and from the beginning, its governance was designed to sit outside any single commercial organization. Today, the OWGR is governed by a 7-member board. Those 7 members are Augusta National Golf Club, the United States Golf Association, the R&A, the PGA of America, the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and the International Federation of PGA Tours. The board is chaired by an independent figure. The PGA Tour holds 1 seat, 1 vote of 7. That is the first thing the conventional narrative gets wrong. For more than 3 years, LIV Golf had 0 OWGR points. None. That was not an accident. It was a structural consequence, and, for the PGA Tour, a weapon. When LIV Golf launched in 2022, the OWGR's existing criteria required recognized tours to offer open player pathways based on merit. LIV's model, invitation only, 54 holes, no cut, failed on multiple grounds. LIV submitted its first application in 2022. The OWGR formally rejected it in October 2023. Chairman Peter Dawson cited 2 specific structural flaws: the no-cut, 54-hole format, and closed player pathways that prioritized invitation over objective performance, as reported by Golf Digest and confirmed by the OWGR's own public statement at the time. The consequence for LIV's players was severe. Jon Rahm, who left the PGA Tour in December 2023, began to fall sharply down the rankings as his points decayed without replacement. Tyrrell Hatton, Joaquin Niemann, and others were forced to play events on secondary tours around the world simply to prevent their rankings from collapsing entirely. The OWGR was not just a measure of performance. It was actively playing a decisive role in determining who could access the biggest stages in the sport. That is the moment the ranking system's real power became visible. It is not just a scoreboard. It is a gatekeeper. Here is the mechanism most coverage skips over. The 4 major championships each set their own entry criteria, but all 4, the Masters, the US Open, the Open Championship, and the PGA Championship, use OWGR rankings as one of their primary eligibility thresholds. Augusta National sets the Masters field. The USGA sets the US Open field. The R&A sets the Open field. The PGA of America sets the PGA Championship field. None of those organizations are the PGA Tour, but all of them rely in part on a ranking system that the PGA Tour does not control. That is the architecture, and it matters because the OWGR is not simply reactive. It is an active standards body. When LIV Golf applied for recognition, the OWGR told it precisely what it needed to change. The criteria are documented and enforceable. The OWGR made clear that structural changes, including movement toward open qualification pathways and formats that allow proper statistical evaluation would be required for any future application to succeed. New LIV CEO Scott O'Neill relaunched the application and began addressing those stated objections. As of early 2026, that process remains ongoing. LIV has not yet received full OWGR accreditation equivalent to established tours, and any points allocation that may emerge will be far more restrictive than the distribution applied to most recognized tours. The wall is still largely intact, but the OWGR's own stated criteria make clear what it would take to open a door in it. And that distinction matters, because it means the outcome is governed by published standards, not by any single commercial interest. Here is where the story stays open. The OWGR's 7-member board was designed, structurally, to prevent any single commercial interest from capturing it. The PGA Tour holds 1 seat. The 4 organizations that run the majors hold 4 more. The system was built to be independent. But that same design creates a tension the current moment has exposed. When LIV applied for recognition, the process took years and demanded structural reform of an entire league. During that time, players who had made legitimate career decisions found themselves shut out of the sport's most important stages. John Rahm told reporters in 2026, "It's fantastic that we're being recognized. With that said, I don't like how we're not being treated the same as every other tour." That frustration, reported by Golf Digest, reflects a genuine structural reality. The OWGR's criteria, however defensible on their own terms, had the practical effect of disadvantaging players on a competing tour backed by a sovereign wealth fund that has committed, in writing, to its continued survival. The OWGR held its criteria. That is defensible. But it also means the ranking system, by design, can be used to marginalize players who choose tours that sit outside established commercial structures. Whether that is governance or gatekeeping depends on which side of the boundary you are standing on. That question is not settled, and it will not be settled until the OWGR and LIV reach a final, confirmed resolution, or don't. So how do the World Golf Rankings really control professional golf? Not through any single decision, through architecture. The OWGR is the connective tissue between all tours and all majors. It is the one system that every governing body, every commercial tour, and every independent major organization has agreed to recognize. That gives it a structural authority that no single commercial entity, not the PGA Tour, not LIV, not the PIF, can replicate or override unilaterally. When LIV was locked out, it wasn't the PGA Tour that locked it out. It was a set of criteria that an independent board upheld. If LIV eventually gets full recognition, it won't be because anyone relented. It will be because LIV satisfied a published standard. That is how the ranking system controls the game. Not by picking winners, by setting the terms of legitimacy. And in a sport where sovereign wealth funds, 4 independent major organizations, and 2 competing tour structures are all pulling in different directions, a system nobody fully controls may be the only thing holding it together. Subscribe to Legacy Wedges, the structure, the money, and the forces beneath the leaderboard that actually shape the game you love.